Hello and welcome to another episode of A Pint of Perspective, Green King's inclusion podcast. My name is Gary Clark-Strange, my pronouns are he, him, and I am your host for today's episode. And today I am joined by Jowita, who is a employee relations case manager at Green King, who is a member of our Unity network, which represents people from our ethnic minority backgrounds, and who is going to share her story with us today. So welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what it is you do at Green King?
So thank you, Gary. My name is Jowita. I'm the case manager for the community pops in Green King. I haven't been with the company for too long because I just started in January, but so far I'm really enjoying my journey here.
Great.
And I recently joined the Unity group to empower some Polish people maybe to join the group as well.
So we're recording in April, so you've been with us for about 3 months or so now?
Yeah, 3-4 months.
Welcome, firstly. And I think interestingly that you've mentioned already part of you joining the employee network was to empower Polish people. So you're originally from Poland.
Yes.
Tell me a bit about you. Tell me about your background.
Okay, so I was born in Poland. I moved to England in late 2016.
Okay.
So to be fair, like in the beginning, I wasn't sure if I want to stay in England. It was more just a little bit of background on the education in Poland. University in Poland is free. You don't have to pay a penny to go to university.
It was the same when I went to university in Ireland, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great thing, as you can imagine.
Yeah,
and
it's great, it's a bonus.
It's a great thing, but at the same time, everyone goes to university.
Okay.
So everyone's got some kind of degree. And anywhere you're gonna go, someone's got a degree, but maybe not necessarily a work experience. So everyone is starting on the same level. And myself, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do after school. I wasn't sure like what direction I should go. Like I never worked before. I was 19. I was a little lost. I wasn't sure if I should be doing what I was supposed to do because I've been studying biology and chemistry.
Okay.
So
very different to your job
completely
in HR.
different to what I'm doing now. So as you can see, like I was really confused at that moment in time. And I didn't know what I want to do. And I was even enrolled to biotechnology, but kind of last minute, I've changed my mind. I'm like, I need to take some time and think about what I want to do in my life, because I don't want to spend next 5 years learning biology and chemistry and later not enjoying working in a lab. I always thought that my character was maybe too big for that lab.
Can't keep your Jowita down.
I think I would be struggling. It's just something that I wasn't sure I would enjoy till the rest of my days. And about my career, I wanted to find something that I can do and obviously develop it and change it maybe later down in the line, but I wanted to have a little bit of clear direction. So first it was supposed to be a gap
in the UK?
In the UK, yes. So I came to Birmingham, I started working, just obviously not great jobs, warehouses, that kind of jobs. My second job that I got was in logistics. And that was in January 2017.
Okay.
And ever since then, I was working in the same company, progressing my way through, doing a lot of different jobs during my time, doing some admin work, working in a feeder department, network planning, being a hub administrator, then progressing into HR specialist, which...
That's a change.
Yeah, it's a massive change. Yeah, but that's where I was. Like after 5 years, I progressed into HR specialist role, and that's something that I really wanted to do. Being an employee and being a minority in a logistic industry, as you can imagine, logistic industry is quite...
And female.
And a female, young female, trying to progress. Yeah, it was really difficult.
How was, when you moved here, how was your English? Is that something you spoke fluently when you got here, or how was that?
English wasn't my best side at school, I would be really honest.
Okay.
Obviously, I was passing my tests, and like when I was passing my final exams, it was quite a good result, but I don't think that I was ever confident speaking English. I remember there was that one situation that first week when I came to England, I went to Asda, and I was just looking at the cashier, and cashier said to me, you know, that plastic things at the end of the till, the red ones that says till closed.
Yeah.
So the cashier asked me to put that on the back of the till. I could not understand the words she was saying.
Okay.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I really thought that I can speak English, but it seems that I can't understand the word, because obviously the English that you learn in at school is completely different than the British English. I think that British English, you like cutting a word in half, like you're not saying all the letters. It's really hard to understand sometimes. So I was just like, ooh.
How does that feel when you've moved here? You're trying to, I guess, start a career, being from a different country, and then trying to learn that language at the same time. That's challenging, right?
It is challenging. That's why I went to college.
Okay.
So I finished level 1 and level 2 in English. So I've been in a group with native speakers, which really helped me. And I think it was really important for me to go to college and actually learn how to think in different language and to do all the exercises that I have to do to pass my level 2 to get where I am today. It definitely helped me. I had a great teachers on my way. On my level 1, I was a group of 30 people. We've been all from different countries around the world, but all trying to learn English. And then the second year, when I was passing my level 2, I was part of a group of only 3 people, which was absolutely a great experience because it really help me learn English in depth.
To the point where you are speaking naturally English
Yes.
now, which is, incredible. So I guess for people who are listening, they won't necessarily understand exactly what your role is now. You mentioned at the start, you're a case manager in employee relations. And I guess to help us understand your journey of coming to the UK and building your career, which is now, it's really building successfully, which is fantastic to see. What does that involve? What does your day-to-day look like in employee relations?
My day-to-day looks like I'm on the phone a lot of the time.
Okay.
So I'm taking adjournment calls with any disciplinaries, or if there's like any investigations that are being completed by the general managers for the community, and they are unsure about the decision and what decision to make. I'm basically the soundboard that they can speak to and ask about my advice on these cases. I'm also managing my cases. So considering community is quite a big part of the business, and it's almost 300 pubs. I've got around 150 cases at any moment in time that I'm managing, and just basically making sure that they are being completed in a timely manner, that the advice that we are giving is consistent across the business, and that we are doing everything in line with our policies. By the way, great policies in Green.
And obviously you're quite new, right? So you're learning the business at the same time as being, I guess, new as well to this arena of HR. How are you overcoming the challenges that are part of that? You talked about growing your career in logistics. Now you've moved into hospitality, totally different ball game arena.
It's different, but also very similar. I think that any industry that you're gonna go to, human resources or employee relations are gonna be very similar. So I thought that it's going to be a little bit harder in the beginning, but people in Green King have been so amazing that I felt like at home straight away, and I felt really welcomed and empowered to do things that I have to do. And also just from normal day perspective, I'm always supported by my team. Our team is amazing, always checking up on us. The induction plan that they put together has been great, and I've learned so much about the business, and also attending ops meetings and meeting other people working in a business. Soon I'm gonna be having a day in a trade with one of the business development managers just to see how their day-to-day life looks like. But yeah, it's been a great learning journey so far for past 3 months. Really busy.
It sounds like it's been busy. I guess when you moved here, would you expected that this to be where you got to?
Oh, never.
Never. What do you think? I guess, did you feel like there would be barriers in your way? Because to me, right, that feels like that's attainable for some people to get to this space where you are, where you're talking really confidently about your role and you're making a success of it. But what was the barrier when you joined here or when you moved here that would stop you from even thinking you might get to there?
Ooh, I think confidence is a big thing.
Yeah.
Being self-conscious of my accent, any kind of interviews that I was going to, that would probably take me 3 hours of preparing myself just to make sure that I'm going to say the right thing. Because as much that I'm comfortable talking in English when it's a normal setting, when there's no stress involved, when it's coming to an interviews, for example, I would have to write down probably 20 questions and prepare myself really in depth to make sure that I'm going to capture everything that I'm going to say. But
so you've got to do more prep, you think, than
yes.
Other people, because you want to bring yourself to that space, but actually to overcome your accent, your as it was then probably a building of your language skills. That's a challenge. But I think so. One thing we've talked about in within Green King is that we don't necessarily, when we talk about people from different ethnic backgrounds or ethnic minorities, we don't necessarily look at people coming from areas like Poland. We don't always think about that being something where we need to give support because it's natural. You can just come here and integrate into society a bit more. But I don't think that's true.
I don't think it's true. I think it also comes from the tradition. Polish people are a very traditional religious country.
Okay.
Everyone is Catholic in Poland. If you would go to Poland, probably 97% of Polish people are white. There's not many minorities. So I think from when I first came to England, it was a culture shock because I never used to work with people with different skin color or different minorities or different ethnicities. So yeah, it was definitely a shock coming here comparing to Poland being so traditional. I think it's hard sometimes from that perspective that people maybe not taking into consideration that traditions can be different.
Oh yeah.
So I've been told so many times, why are you celebrating Christmas on Christmas Eve? Well, it's my tradition.
That's my tradition.
Yeah, it's my tradition. It's something that I've been doing since the kids. So yeah, of course that you imagine Christmas. It's a Christmas day. You're waking up in the morning, you opening presents with your family on a Christmas day. For me, it's completely different. Christmas Day is my mom's birthday. So for Christmas Day, it wouldn't be really a Christmas day like it is in the UK. It would be more as a family party for my mother because it's like a first day of Christmas, let's say. Yeah, but quite often.
Because you are white, people will expect that you are in the UK, that you might follow those traditions, or you don't necessarily have, different cultural differences that we might well have. And I think one of the things you said at the start was around empowering other Polish people. Why do you think that's important?
I think that Polish people sometimes don't know if there's a place for them, if there's community. I think that in Poland, we are big on communities and that community life. And I would really like people to know that unity is a place that they can also find the community and find the network and find the support system. And I think that sometimes maybe people think that it's only for the people of different race. Yeah. Because we are probably, I think it's not fitting in any category, not fitting with white English, but not fitting with, for example, Asian or Black minorities, And being that in the middle, it's really similar for mixed race people, speaking with other people working in our business. It's very similar because sometimes you don't know, in what category you're falling into.
Yeah. We should mention that when you're referring to Unity, that's the employee network that exists at Green King for people from different ethnic minority backgrounds. But I think it's in society in general that this recognition of the fact that you might be from Eastern Europe, that you are a different, you do have different, as you say, traditions. You've got different ways of thinking than you might well have the traditional, as you say, white British person. And that's a challenge to overcome. But people don't know that necessarily by looking at you.
Yes.
Because you don't you don't have black skin, for example. So therefore people just expect that you can integrate much, much quicker.
But at the same time, they know exactly that I'm different as soon as I'm going to speak up.
Because you have an accent.
Yeah.
And really interesting, we were talking at the start. So Jowita spells her name Jowita, but it's spelled Yowita. And when I first saw that on your signature at work, it made me realize that I needed to make an effort to pronounce your name correctly. And obviously you've done that because people pronounce your name incorrectly all the time. Yeah. How does it make you feel when people, still when you give them the key to try and make the effort to pronounce it correctly, that it's still, they don't make the effort to try?
I think that it's important to educate people, but at the same time, sometimes it's not worth it because some people just don't want to listen, unfortunately. I'm not saying that it would be in Green King. I'm just saying from my personal experience. In the beginning, when I first came here, I always would pronounce my name correctly. I'm like, Jowita, not Jowita, not Jowita, not Jowita, not Jowita, nothing like that. Yeah, it's Jowita. In the beginning, I would do it way more often. I think as I'm getting older, it doesn't bother me that much. However, it is a part of my identity. I want people to pronounce my name correctly because that's my name. That's the name that my mom gave me. And funnily enough, Jowita is not really a popular name even in Poland. Okay. So there would be only one Jowita in a whole town. and that would be me.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been minority back home, and now I'm minority back here.
And that was kind of something when you were talking about the fact of, in Poland, 97% of the population being Catholic, and, I guess then the challenge of coming to a different country where you've gone from being in the majority when you're in Poland to then becoming a minority here, just potentially just by the way that you speak, because your accent is different. That's got to feel, I can't imagine how that feels to have that change overnight, to just, complete shift change in mentality.
Yeah, it was difficult. I think that maybe because I was so young when I came here, I was only 19. Probably most of the things that were happening to me, I wasn't that bothered about. And it was probably easier to overcome. But now, as I'm getting older, I'm seeing that it's so important to educate people, to make sure that we are vocal about these things and that we are speaking up about these things, and not only, with our friends or with Polish community, but it's nice to see that people are also interested to find out a little bit more about Polish culture or my culture or different traditions. It's great to see.
Yeah, I had a friend, I was studying Spanish, and one of my classmates was Polish, and his name, if you read it, looked like Lucas. Mm-hmm. But it was, I might get it wrong, so if you can correct me, I think Łukasz.
Yes, I know, Łukasz, yes.
And it became so important to me that every week I referred to him, everyone else called him Łukasz in class. Everyone just, because it's how he wrote it. But because that one day he explained to me that was how I pronounced it. It was so important for me that I then made the effort to always, where I could say his name correctly. And I think that built up a bit of rapport between the two of us as well, because, and also I was so in awe of him because he was in the UK in a Spanish class as a Polish speaker. I was blown away by him. But he might listen to this podcast and think that I'm crazy for being inspired by that. But it was so inspiring to see him, I guess in the same way to you, being in a different country and still continuing to push himself to do different things.
I think that's why I am where I am today. I'm not sure if I would be there, if I would stay in Poland. I think that's really built my confidence.
Okay.
Going through these challenges, but pushing through them and being no, I've got a right to be here.
Yeah, you do.
I've got more, same right as everyone else to be here and to be in this position. I've got rights to apply for that job, and I've got rights to get it. And I'm going to do everything to get it, but I'm not going to be rejected just because I'm Polish.
I feel like we need to have a fist pump moment just for that. What challenges have you come up against? Tell us about some of the tougher times.
Tougher times. Getting promoted. First comment that everyone would make around me would be, obviously she's a young Polish person. She's only 20, 21. Probably she's done something to get that job, but she didn't get it in the right way. It's not because of her skills.
You don't deserve it.
Yeah, you don't deserve it. It's not because of your skills. It's not because of your knowledge. It's not because you're hardworking. It's because you're young and you're a young woman in the business. Yeah. And we want to promote more people in the business. Or are you diversity hire? That's something that you always
Are you conscious of being called a diversity hire?
I've never been conscious of being called diversity hire in Green King.
Yeah.
However, there was a comment made to me by not my line management in my previous job, but are you a diversity hire then? Because we need more people, and probably more people with ethnic minorities on a management level.
It's so offensive to say that to somebody, because, all I've heard of you talk since, you talk about your experience as you came to the UK is, I can hear this work ethic and this ethic to want to learn more and build your career. And to think that anyone would then relate that to basically ignore all that hard work that you did and then focus on the fact that it's your diversity hire because of your ethnicity, it's really offensive.
Yeah, it is really offensive. I think people sometimes don't realize how offensive certain comments can be. I've had so many times, you've got an accent, but you can drop it. There's different courses that you can take. You can go to school and you can learn how to speak English properly. And I'm thinking to myself, it's coming from the person that I could probably see them writing some post on Facebook, and I could write it better. So why should I go to school to drop my accent if you can't even write in your own language? I think that sometimes it would be nice if people would just appreciate that thinking, oh, that person is speaking two languages. It's not that easy.
No.
It's not that easy to start thinking in different language. Now, I think it's coming to me more natural than Polish, being honest, and I prefer English language. It's easier for me to communicate.
Wow.
To that point that when I'm coming back home, my mom sometimes says that it takes me a few days to drop
back into Polish.
Back into Polish, because it sounds a little bit like I'm translated back from English to Polish. Because my mom speaks both Polish and English, she understands everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what
but
she
also,
says.
why should you lose your accent? You know, you should never be encouraged to lose your accent. That's part of your identity. If you want to keep your heritage and your accent, that's your right to do so, right?
Of course. I don't want the people to look at me and think, oh, yeah, she's British. I'm not British. Yeah. I'm Polish. I'm proud that I'm Polish, and I don't want to just lose my identity over it. It's same with the name, same with the accent. Just let me be me.
Exactly. And you've talked there about some of the challenges, but what I also hear in your story is some real positivity. You have come, as you said, starting in warehouse roles to now being in a role within a HR function and providing great support to our business, but also, you know, growing your career. Have you got any examples of times where you feel you've been really supported to grow by individuals and they have embraced your individualism?
Yes, definitely. I can feel that now in Green King, even being asked to come to record this podcast, been like, oh, they want me. Yeah. Okay, they want to hear my story. Like, that's stressful, of course. Yeah. But at the same time, it's so great. Yeah, I've had many people that would embrace the fact that I'm Polish, and that would show me that, you know, like, even though you're different, you're not really that different. But also during my career, I had the people that had completely different point of view on these things.
I think it's so important for people who, like your example or your situation is that you know, your heritage is Polish and you're, you know, living in the UK, but as society is changing and growing and we are becoming a more multicultural society, there's a stigma, I think, as well, of what box you should fit into. I don't believe in boxes at all, but I think what's so important, and I'll give you my final question as we kind of come into this, is that, you know, we do share these voices and these experiences so that other people can feel like it's okay to be proud of my culture while living in the UK. And that's part of what makes us a more welcoming society, I guess. So we're coming towards the end of the episode, but I'm really conscious. You talked there about feeling, you know, one of the things that made you feel welcome was being asked to this podcast. But why was it important for you as a Polish female, new to a business, because you are new to Green King? Why was it important for you to come today and share your story?
It was really important for me because I definitely want more people to join Unity.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they know that there's a place for them and that we've got that network and community of people that are working together to get to our goals. And I think that these goals should be Polish people goals as well in this business. That's why it was so important for me to come here and speak about my story and also empower other people to see, like, you know, it's not always bad, like, it's not always staying bad. Obviously, like, we're always going through very difficult times. However, you know, like, it can turn out all better in the end. And I think that's important to see that, sometimes it's not great, but...
And you will be doing that. So you will be inspiring people internally at Green King to think about joining Unity, but also this podcast goes out externally as well. So I'm hoping that there are populations out there listening as well that will be inspired to think, I can embrace my identity more in society and continue to grow as well. That's part of what storytelling does and why we feel it's really important to find the voice, to give people the voice to share their stories. I'm going to finish with one, because I'm loving this conversation and I'm trying to get as much out of you as I can. One piece of advice to somebody who's coming new to the UK, who's kind of, you think back to you 7 years ago, if you were to give them one bit of advice that kind of finishes off this conversation, what would it be?
Don't stop. Just do your thing. People are going to tell you that you shouldn't be doing it, that it's not your place to be here, and that you've got no place there, but you do, and you should just be pushing through it, and sooner or later you're going to see the effects.
Persevere till the end.
Yes.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on Pint of Perspective. Thank you for coming and sharing your story, and we wish you continued success as you continue to grow your role at Green King.
Thank you
very much
for having me. Thank you.